The world is beautiful, with an incredibly diverse form of life that dot the surface of our blue planet. Ecosystems carefully crafted by evolution, sculpting beauty across the Earth. From the deepest blues of the ocean to peaks of mountains, life thrives from continent to continent. However, these magnificent environments are under attack. Among the vast trees of the rainforests or the Great Plains of Africa, there are forms of life that aren't supposed to be where they have ended up. These are called invasive species, living organisms that relocated to an area where they're not supposed to be. Usually by human cause, a variety of species, from rodents to lizards to birds, catch rides in cargo compartments of planes or storage crates of massive ships, unintentionally catching rides to faraway lands. In many instances, these creatures are harmful to the environment around them as they are not native to the environment. This is a crucial problem due to the way ecosystems are built. Over years of natural selection, evolution, and competition among species, ecosystems have grown accustomed to native species. And when a new species enters these areas, the local inhabitants are not prepared for this new species. Often, this species lacks natural predators, as nothing in the area has evolved alongside them. This will in turn disrupt the natural ecosystem and harm its native fauna and flora. As their population grows, they will spread and multiply as they spread exponentially. One of these widespread species plaguing the southern and central part of the United States is the Argentine ant. The Argentine ant, known scientifically as the Limpenthema humuli, are a small brown species of ant from the genus Limpenthatidae. Argentine ants are only around 2.2 to 2.5 millimeters long, well below the ant average of around 5 millimeters. The U.S. colonies of these ants can have several million individuals per colony. What also makes the Argentine ant such a ferocious force is that the genetic variation of introduced populations is very low. This is due to only a small amount of Argentine ants being brought from their native habitat across Argentina in the Amazon rainforest. This is a problem because in their native environment of the Paraná River, which is a rainforest river that runs through Argentina and Paraguay, when two colonies run into one another, the ants would attack each other, as Argentine ants, like most, are fiercely territorial and will fight any species that steps into their scavenging grounds. This highly territorial lifestyle makes a lot of sense when you see the species it has to compete with. The Argentine ant lived among very capable competitors such as Solenopsis genomidae, also known as the notorious fire ant. Argentine ants also grew up alongside certain species of army ants, who, as their name implies, are built to be powerful armies. But in the US, where they are invasive, Argentine ant colonies can cooperate. They form what's known as a supercolony. The queens, the workers, the soldiers are now all allied with one another. These supercolonies can have ants ranging in 10 million individuals, and even these supercolonies can merge with other colonies, increasing the population from 10 million to 100 million and even billions of ants, with an inordinate amount of queens constantly producing more eggs daily. But this all begs the question, how are they harmful? It's affecting biodiversity by competing with the native ants and being better at scavenging and raiding other colonies. But what about the fact that they harm the economy? Yeah. Argentine ants pose a threat to our economy by domesticating aphids, mealybugs, and scales for their honeydew. And yes, you heard that correctly, domesticated. They domesticate these crop pests. They take care of them and protect them in return for the honeydew they leave behind. These pests decimate crops and reproduce fast, causing even more plant destruction. So, we've established the threat they pose to the ecosystem, biodiversity, and our economy. So now we need to discuss how to get rid of them. But to do that is near impossible The best forms of insect eradication use copious amounts of pesticides, which is terrible for the environment, with the added risk of harming not just the intended insect, but all others around them. Pesticides are the main reason why butterflies are much less common. So, what's the best route to take to getting rid of these festering lymphedema? It may sound gross, but eating them. Not just eating them, of course, but taking advantage of their mass numbers and putting them towards biofuel, which is harvesting them and processing them to create energy. After all, 60% of Indiana's corn goes to biofuel production. In fact, according to ScienceDirect.com, insects are already being used for biofuel, so why not the invasive species? Bugs are also high in protein, so we could use them in everyday foods, or animal feed, or supplements. They could be used in the aforementioned biofuel, producing more energy, no longer making them a detriment to our economy, but a support. But how do we gather these ants for all these benefits? And would they be dangerous to eat? Well, Argentine ants, unlike many others, don't have any form of venom or acid in their bodies, and cleaning them isn't difficult either. And when it comes to gathering, they can be dug up easily due to their colonies only going, on average, 8 inches deep. And research can also be put into ant birth control, which, as ridiculous as it sounds, has been used in Hawaii and is super effective. The birth control has been specialized for fire ants and yellow crazy ants and doesn't even kill the ants, only stopping them from reproducing. So why can't we fund research for harvesting them for biofuel, consumption, or developing ant birth control for these economically, environmentally, astronomically harmful ants?